It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
We got one out of the three of those guys that you just heard there. And Joaquin Gage here on Two Guys and a Goalie. Matt Iwanyk with you here. No Matt Cassian. He's ill. He sent you and I a text yesterday. Matt Iwanyk with you as well. For those listening on the audio stream, he sent us a text yesterday. He can't speak.
Yeah.
And, he tried proving that he can't speak, and his wife was upset, going like, "Why are you talking right now?" And he's down pretty good right now, Gager. Cass.
Yeah, that's he might go on LTIR here. We might at least it'll free up some cap space with Edmonton Sports Talk, I think, a little bit. So yeah, poor Cass. Hopefully just take it easy. Get some I think I don't know if he's a chicken soup. He probably gets some sort of faux bowl, hot, spicy Thai soup to try to make him feel a little bit better. But yeah, it's sorry to see the big guy down. Really has the man cold.
And you went through that though. Like you went through maybe not the level he's dealing with, but you had like battled it in December. It's just like something that's going. Eric was down today. He couldn't come into the morning show with you. Dusty is just because he was at the Spangler Cup and now he's got his week off. But it just seems like everyone's getting hit by something, and it's taking them down pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, it was weird because I rarely get sick. Like it might happen once a year, maybe, and it's like a day. Usually just lots of rest, and I'm good to go by the next day if I just take it easy. But this one was weird, man. It's so odd to be sick for such a long period of time and just feeling like garbage, like compostable garbage in the green bin all day. Awful. So yeah, I feel for you, Cass. I know what it's like because I try not to be sick. Like I hate being sick. I hate.
Well,
feeling...
who tries to be sick?
Well, some people. I don't know.
Well, they fake it.
They fake it. Then it always comes back to haunt them. I'm
usually good for a couple of years. For some reason, and this is wood in front of me, so I'm going to knock on it really good. I've missed whatever's been going on this winter. I've so far been really good in not getting any of that, so I'm very thankful right now. I went through my brother's entire family, and you guys are having. It's for some reason I'm good right now. We'll see how that progresses. Now that I said something, I've probably really jinxed it.
Yeah,
but,
you're screwed now.
Yeah, it's the worst. You know what? For me, I hate the sore throat. I could handle almost anything else. I hate the sore throat. You learn how often you have to take back saliva when you have a sore throat.
The razor blades are bad. I don't like the chills, and I was really congested. It felt like I was underwater the whole time. That I was just I couldn't. I was just like, oh my gosh. When I get better, I'm gonna enjoy it way more than I usually. I'm not gonna take my health for granted anymore. And then, of course, you just treat your body like a fun house. As soon as you start feeling a little bit better.
By the way, Happy New Year! Hope you had a good Christmas. You get spoiled by Santa this year, or?
Yeah, I did. I'm at the age now where there's a part of you, I think, throughout your whole life, Christmas comes and you always look for that big gift from Santa. Maybe something you got your fingers crossed. But as a father and going through Christmases, I kind of look forward to the gifts that maybe they weren't so desired. Like I get a nice pair of socks and some underwear. I'm like giddy up, right? So I love that aspect. I usually my mother-in-law always spoils me with clothes and things. My brother-in-law, we always use, it's either alcohol or some sort of cooking device. I got him a special advent calendar. I know it was past, but it was beers that you don't get regularly, so I got him that. He got me a hot sauce pickling device, which I'm anxious to try. I pickled some onions the other day with it and it worked great. My son got me a cookbook from a video game, which is awesome.
Which video game?
It's right here. Actually, I've been looking through it. I don't know what to make. I got to make something with him first, but it's the Elder Scrolls.
Do they
cookbook.
Do they cook in the game, or is it just inspired by?
Yeah, it's like it's an RPG where you're a role playing game, and you have to gain health by eating things, and everything that you eat in the game now there's a recipe for it. So
Nice.
I'm excited to try some of the things that I usually eat during while playing. Well, I don't play much anymore, but when I played Skyrim, it's that. And I got to bring these in. My brother-in-law got me a remember when I sent out those Costco the F1 cars were
Yeah.
I got it.
No way.
So I got all the Red Bull cars from the last Ricardo up. So yeah, and
That's quite a few of them too.
Yeah, so it's great. I'll display those prominently soon.
You could put those like behind you. Get it.
I have
nice
to,
shelves, and then there's your for Edmonton Sports Talk. There's your camera placement.
Exactly.
All especially when you do pit stop pals, like those.
They got to be.
They have to be. You just even if you have to hold them in your hand just to keep them on screen, like you have to get those ones when 2024 season gets rolling, which actually isn't that far away.
It's 58 days.
Yeah, I was going to say like it has to be less than 2 months.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think February 14th. I think it might be Mercedes revealing the car. No, it's not Mercedes. Yeah, forget. I'll have to research. But yeah,
Mercedes unveiling the car that's bringing Lewis Hamilton his 8th world title. You heard it here first on Two Guys and a Goalie.
Yeah, that's ambitious. Let's fingers crossed. I'd like to see him break it. I always like.
It would be great. Let's get into the Edmonton Oilers here quickly, because that's kind of what the show is supposed to be more about. They take on the Philadelphia Flyers, but what have you made of what the Oilers accomplished between last two guys and a goalie? It was me, you, and Cass. As the Oilers were getting set to take on the Devils. They took on the Devils, the Rangers, and then they had their California swing. What have you made of the Oilers' play over the last little bit through this Christmas season? And also more specifically, their play, I think, when you look at the game against the Rangers and the LA Kings, because those were the two big ones.
Well, those were the ones that we circled, right? And it's kind of funny with the 2-3 game blocks of a 6-game road trip, right? So even more, I believe before the trip out east, I was saying it would be a failure if they didn't go at least 2-1, just with the situation that they were in. They accomplished it, and then going back into the West Coast. I thought, well, they should at least be 2-1 again, and to grab all three in two basically in commanding fashion, and one going up against one of the best teams in the National Hockey League, getting down to recovering, coming back, those third period comebacks that we saw. Everyone on the Oilers has elevated their play to a level where currently, I've said this before, if you cannot match the intensity and the execution of play, you're not going to beat the Oilers. And what I mean, you mentioned the Rangers game, Maddie, but I talked about it this morning on the morning show. The thing that impressed me most about the game against the Los Angeles Kings was how they dismantled the 1-3-1 against them, because the Oilers are not really a team that dumps the puck a lot of times. They love to come into the zone with control. And I think the Kings were thinking that's the kind of team that they would see, especially being up 2 goals and being able to it was a mistake by them to literally sit back and hope to capitalize, go to that counter punching style of capitalizing on the Oilers' maybe mishaps at those blue lines. And that just didn't happen. They got into the forecheck, forced the D, got a perfect plays by their top guys, and managed to come through in the shootout and win. And in a very important game, I think, because further down the line, if it does get into a situation right now, it looks like the Oilers probably don't have home ice advantage against one of these teams. Establishing you can win in their building with that little splinter in the back of their head going, we were up 2 and lost this thing, can only help them moving forward.
Well, if it's with the LA Kings and the Oilers, let's project and say that if they were to meet in the playoffs, if you're the Kings, you can't be like excited to see the Oilers in any way, shape, or form because they have your number. If you're the LA Kings, you're looking at the Oilers knocked you out of the playoffs 2 years in a row, and this year, like while the Oilers are having this, whatever we want to look at this first half of the season, non-Oiler-esque overall first half of the season, you still couldn't take advantage of that, and they couldn't feel good about taking on the Oilers. That's got to play in your head as an athlete that this is a team that they have our number. And how do you get out of that if you're a team?
Well, I mean, as from the Oilers, you got to keep reminding them of that, right, during games and things. It's tough because they have to start beating the Oilers. Like whatever, doesn't matter what they do. It looks like they're going to be in the playoffs. I'm sure the Kings are going to make the playoffs, but they have to beat the Oilers in the regular season just to, I think just to feel a little bit better about themselves. There's a swagger you see with the Oilers playing the Kings, even down 2-0. They didn't press. I shouldn't say they didn't press. They didn't change the style of play that brought them so much success earlier. I don't know. I think a lot of things line up. I look at that trade now, Maddie, and seeing the flips. Yeah, seeing what those guys are doing in Winnipeg right now, and with Winnipeg without their Connor, man, that and seeing Dubois is a good player. I struggling this year a little bit, but as of right now, I would have to say that the Jets won that trade.
That the Kings, they would be a better hockey team if they didn't make that trade right now?
I believe so. They would be better matched up against the Oilers, I think, without making that trade. We'll see further down the line. I know it's a different kind of dynamic once you get into the playoffs with those three big, good centermen right down the middle and playing against them every night. That wears on you. But man, I don't know. I think the speed and what they're missing from those guys, I don't know. Time will tell. But as for right now, it actually looks good, that trade for the Oilers. Just how they can counteract Jean-Luc Dubois in that regard, I think.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Sorry, did I say Jean-Luc?
Yeah, who's Jean-Luc Dubois?
Star Trek.
Is that Star Trek thing?
No, I watched Star Trek earlier. Maybe that was it.
Is that from Star Trek? Like, what does that got to do with?
Well, Jean-Luc Picard.
Okay. I only know him as Picard. I never got into Star Trek. I used to have an office mate at 1260 that would watch Star Trek, but I never got into that. I also didn't. I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm a Lord of the Rings guy.
Oh, are you?
Big Lord of the Rings. I just watched Rings of Power for the first time this Christmas.
I haven't watched it. How is it?
I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And then I went online to read about it, and apparently the diehard Lord of the Rings fans hate it because the plot is not at all, doesn't follow the book enough. Like it veers away from the book a lot, that they hate the plot of it, but they love how it looks. They love a lot of that stuff, but I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, I was thinking of giving it a whirl.
I thought I was going to watch it over, because it's 8 episodes, 8 days or something. I ended up doing it over 2 because I actually was really enjoying it and I just crushed it.
Oh, that's good.
Do you like Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was I remember I was in Scotland and I went to go see the first Harry Potter movie, and there was a Lord of the Rings trailer before. I had no clue that this was being made a movie. And I read those books when I was a kid, essentially. And as soon as Gandalf came on, the music came on and Gandalf was coming into the Shire, and I was like, oh my God, is this Lord of the Rings? I freaked out. My girlfriend, who's my wife now, just thought, what did I do? Why am I with this person?
Well,
but
all these years later, you can get her to watch the Rings of Power to come full circle.
Maybe. I did watch that Rebel Moon on Netflix. It was supposed to be Zack Snyder's. They kind of gassed him from the next rebooting Star Wars, and he started this Rebel Moon thing. It got terrible reviews. I can see why. It's not the best. It could be interesting if it keeps going. There's a part 2 coming out in February or March, I think. So, but I mean, Charlie Hunnam, the Jax from Sons of Anarchy, he's in it. He's English, but he's got a terrible Scottish accent. It's awful. It's terrible. So it just, very, very disappointing. Something I was looking forward to over the Christmas break, and it fell short.
I went to watch Wonka, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah?
That was excellent. It's just a nice little prequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Timothée Chalamet does actually a pretty good job. Like, not the greatest singer there is, but good enough for the movie, and it's actually really nice.
All right.
It's a nice feel-good movie. It's worth the even if you don't go to theater, if it comes up on your streaming in the next few months, it's worth a 2-hour watch. It's really nice. This is Two Guys and a Goalie. Matt Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk. For those watching on YouTube and listening on TuneIn or EdmontonSportsTalk.com, Edmonton Oilers taking on the Philadelphia Flyers later tonight. Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola and YouTube Prev. That will get going at 5:30 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. The Oilers look to continue their winning ways. Let's look quickly at Stuart Skinner's play. I want to get your take on his play recently, Gager. In this Christmas break at the Rangers, gets the win, a 9-12 save percentage, the shutout against the Sharks, then a 9.29 save percentage against the Kings. What have you made of Skinner's play in this, broken up 6-game road trip?
Well, he's turned around his season. He's got the most wins over the past 2 months, or the best winning percentage. No, he's providing the goaltending that the Oilers need. Like in those dark first few months, there were saves that, the teams were getting great chances, but we've seen Stuart Skinner take away goals in the past from teams when they get those good chances. I look at that one blocker save in the second period where he dove back across against the Kings, right? That was for sure a goal. He's just very solid. I loved his reaction at the end of the game against the Rangers, where they scored late and he was pissed, and that's after, watching Quick look like 25-year-old Jonathan Quick throughout that second period, and battling through and making some saves and coming back and winning that game. I love the way that he's been able to solidify the team. And you see once your goalie's playing well, it filters through the whole lineup. You see how I think a big part of why the defense is doing well, not everything, but a little piece of it, is they know the guy back there's, if he sees it, he's probably going to stop it. And guys can play a little bit, not loose, but having that confidence in their goalie's going to cover up for them if there's a mistake made or something happens real quick. So, and look, you have to look at Pickard too. He's providing really solid backup goaltending for the Oilers. I like where they're situated right now, where when you throw in the other guy, you're looking at another 2 points against the teams that you should beat. I said it this morning. I think it's been a long time that the Oilers goaltending hasn't been in this good a situation for a while. And I know Rashog made light of, you have Campbell with that big contract in the minors that doesn't look good on the goaltending, but I'm just talking about the play of the goalies. And even if we look back to like Mike Smith and Mikko, when I think about it, there's always one guy was playing good and the other guy wasn't, right? It was always flip-flopping. When is the last time you can remember where both guys for the Oilers were playing well? Just and this I think this is we're kind of in that area right now where you have two capable goalies and they're rolling. It's great.
Over the last week, there was rumblings and a lot of people talking online and listening to what guys like maybe a Stoff or maybe trying to telegraph there, which is Olivier Rodrigue coming up, being a call-up for this team. Would you at all then mess with this goaltending and bring up Olivier Rodrigue in this month, or do you stick with this for the time being until you see them maybe falter a little bit, if that even happens?
Well, it's a good thing I wasn't with Stoff because I would have disagreed with him again, and that wouldn't have gone well for me. But no, I have to disagree. I think it would be a complete mistake to bring Olivier Rodrigue up. I went into it a lot on the morning show. A guy that comes in, he's a young guy, the highest paid goalie in the Oilers organization becomes your goalie partner, and you start outperforming him and win the starting job. That's unbelievable. He's beaming with confidence right now. His numbers are just unbelievable. He's got to be asked to go to the All-Star game, right? In the American League, if he keeps this up. But just play the legs off him. Let him. Oilers have done a pretty decent job with homegrown goalies, like what they've done with Stuart Skinner. I mean, this is only his second year, and he is a very capable NHL goalie. You have to look back to probably Devin Dubnyk for the last homegrown guy that the Oilers organization was able to produce, and now all of a sudden you have another young bud budding into this good possible guy that can come up and challenge for games at some point. So in my mind, keep him where he is. I like the fact that as of right now, there's three, obviously Rodrigue, no experience, but there's three capable goalies that are playing quite well that you have at your disposal. If something hits the fan with either Pickard or Skinner, you have someone that's really playing well that, almost two birds with one stone. Yeah, you can get him up there, but he's also playing well and confident to be able to, hopefully, if that comes to that, produce some good quality games for you. So, but I stick with how things are going now. You don't change a thing.
What would be the harm of having him come up to the NHL too soon in your eyes, though? Like, where's the harm for his development? Is it just that it might not be ready for the NHL a little too young? Where would be the issue of if the Oilers were looking to do that?
I think it depends on the situation. I just coming up to play. I don't think the Oilers are in a position to do that. They need points. But I just think in his young development, playing in the minors and dominating are way more beneficial to his career. Because look, if you were to talk to Rodrigue, he's like, I want to get up there and start playing. Like that's his mindset. And you want him, you want that desire. You want a guy just chomping at the bit, a dog with a fresh bone wanting to get some NHL games, right? But just have him keep doing what he's doing. I just coming up and playing a game. If things go poorly, you don't necessarily want to look at it that way. But if things go poorly, what happens then? They lose 2 points. Maybe all of a sudden, he goes back down to the minors, loses a bit of confidence. He didn't play that well. The only way I call up Rodrigue is if you have injuries and things are like almost out of your control and you need someone to come up and play some games. That's the only way I have Rodrigue. Where he is, his development for now, keep him in the minors and see where you're at the end of the year and come next year at training camp.
And the Nasty Chat Penner's Pancakes, he agrees, saying Rodrigue only if there's an injury, while Chris Runn saying, I think we give him a shot because if we would have given Skinner a game or two, we might not have Jack Campbell on contract. From your time in the NHL and the AHL, I guess, like, what's the biggest difference that you recall from playing in the minors and then coming to the NHL? Or do you recall, like, what would really stand out to you is that's what is the hard part of noticeable? Yeah, I'm in the NHL, not in the AHL anymore.
All of a sudden, there's probably, I would say, 8 or 9 guys per team that can put the puck wherever they want. Like, if you give them time, they're going to pick you apart. And of course, the play of the superstars is always just a level. They reach a level in a game at certain points, Maddie, that you're almost like, oh my gosh, how did he do that? You know, like I remember one time we were playing Colorado, and Joe Sakic came down on the right side. He was on his backhand, and I could see someone out of the corner of my eye coming to the net, but Sakic was so far away on his backhand that I go, oh, that's a long way to pass that puck. I remember and then boom, he launches this missile backhand, hits a guy backdoor on the tape for the goal. And I was like, okay, you have to be aware of all these guys at all times, especially the superstars, because they're capable of doing things that even in your mind going, that can't happen. I can get there if that does happen, that they do it. Okay. It's a realization that you're at a different level at all the time. But saying that, when you're in the NHL, it is for an established guy. You start to learn tendencies from players, the way they shoot, how the puck comes off their stick, what they like to do. So, in a sense, sometimes having a more experienced guy, Bill Ranford always said it gets easier because you start learning a few things about guys, and you can kind of predict what they're going to do. So in the minors, there's so much fluctuation between guys getting called up, sent down. It's almost a different lineup. Your own lineup's different all the time. So there's almost chaos in the American League, which is even more impressive that he's able to do what he's doing.
And to when Campbell went down, he probably was sitting there thinking, like, I'm not going to get a lot of chances in this and that. And for him to go out there and earn the starting job from now, and a part of that is, of course, also the play of Jack Campbell and how it wasn't there, but he's just got to be feeling like he's the king of the world right now, that he's got this net over the NHLer who has the $5 million contract.
Yeah, like I was trying to rack my brain over other situations that I recall something like this happen, where the big dog got sent, like the big guy got sent down, and the young kid takes the net from him. That's it doesn't happen very often, and I know a little bit is because of Jack Campbell's play, and we've it's hard because we've witnessed some of the not great goals against in Bakersfield, but then this guy's come in, take the ball, and he's running with it. That's unreal. Good for him.
That's what you want if you're the Edmonton Oilers. You want someone to be taking that net and feeling good. As for the Edmonton Oilers, I don't know if you saw this tweet from Jack Michaels after the Anaheim game. Past 3 years, after 34 games, 3 seasons ago, they were 18-14-2. Last year, 18-14-2. This year, 18-15-1. So just half game worse than the last couple of seasons, and we know what the Oilers were ultimately in those over the last couple of seasons. What they did, losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champs both times, and having relatively successful seasons. If you're looking as not winning the Stanley Cup, what's a successful season? I'd say the Oilers still had successful seasons the last 2 years. If you're another team in the West, are you back to being afraid of the Edmonton Oilers? Are they back to being right now one of the best teams to watch, or the scariest teams in the Western Conference right now?
I would think so. They were scary before when the Hopkins, McDavid line started really going with Hyman. I think they're the best line in hockey right now. But now with the emergence of the Draisaitl, Fogle, and McLeod line, just that two-pronged beast, that's what's even more scary to me, man. Like sometimes you can, if one line's going, you can try to do your best, but now you're going up against teams and they're going, okay, well, these guys are going that really well too. How am I going to implement my defense? Who am I going to match up against Connor? Who am I going to match up against Leon? I love the fact that this road trip, they were able to, in the games that they were supposed to, win. They weren't ever really chasing the game, having to expend a lot of extra energy. You saw fourth Hamlin line playing in the third period against the Kings. Everyone's part of this. I would have to say that right now, the way that the Oilers are playing throughout everybody with their 5-on-5 scoring, I think this is over the last 3 years, what Jack has said. I think this is one of the best times that I see how the Oilers are playing out of all those 3 years, as throughout everything. A lot of times last year, the power play got them out of trouble, but consistently throughout the whole lineup, this is the best I think they've played.
Why is Draisaitl, Fogle, and McLeod doing so well? Like, is there something you're seeing that just is working with them? Because, like, a month ago, people were very upset with Ryan McLeod's game. Warren Fogle has kind of been up and down. He's had his moments with the Oilers of playing well, but there's been moments where people just want to get him gone. Right now, everyone's pretty pleased with those plays. Everyone's loving the Fogle-Bear trade, knowing that the Oilers have ultimately now won that trade. I don't think you can argue that in any way, shape, or form. What are you seeing from that line that just that makes it work?
Speed.
Yeah.
And Ryan Rishaug alluded to it this morning. I really think that Draisaitl loves playing with guys with speed. I mean, obviously playing with Connor, you have a guy, the fastest guy with the puck on the planet. So just having Fogle, who's a great skater, McLeod, who can, who's lightning fast. I think that helps Leon sometimes Leon tricks to slow the game down, right? And if he's not playing with quick people, it slows it down even more. These guys are darting in and out of spots. Leon, one of the best passers in the game. I just think there's the ability for Leon to be a little bit more creative, utilizing the speed of both those two guys is just opening up things. And it's not a small line by any means, right? And I was on McLeod. I think everyone was on McLeod about the physical play. Now, what are you seeing? A guy that's stopping in front of the net. There's no flybys anymore. How many goals? Like, I think there's 4 or 5 of his goals have come, a foot or two out from the blue paint. That these little plays from low to high that you're seeing McLeod and Hyman, or McLeod and Fogle do are really hard on defensive structure. Like they're going to the hard areas, they're finishing their checks, and you know what? It's nice to see Leon with a little bit more of a smile on his face playing, right? The scoring goals, Pumpernickels doesn't look like someone kicked his dog when he scores a goal. There's just a lot more joy, I think, with these guys when they're playing, and when they all say it, when you're winning and stuff, when hockey's fun. It's a lot easier to play at that high level.
It's not a tough month coming up for the Edmonton Oilers. I know you and Tommy went through the schedule a bit earlier on the morning show, but tonight you do get maybe one of your harder tests of the month of January in the Philadelphia Flyers. They're currently sitting third in their division at 43 points, 19-12-5. How big of a test is tonight for the Edmonton Oilers matching up against this Flyers team in your eyes?
A big one. I mean, you look back, and I said this morning. You look back at that Flyers game. That was an eye opener, I think, to the Oilers, where I thought it was going to change kind of the young season around. It didn't. It sent them even more into a tailspin. But look, these Flyers do not stop. Right? It's a different type of team. They block like they're a Tortorella team. They try to get in front of every single puck. There's a reason that they're holding down third in that division, right? They're just an honest, hardworking 60-minute hockey team that you can't take breaks against, because if they get the lead, they're so structured defensively. It's really hard to get back in this game. The Oilers have done it against some pretty good teams. This is a little bit of a different animal, I think. So if you're looking at this schedule, you like what you see, because the ability for the Edmonton to really get back into the hunt in the Pacific Division is definitely available. But tonight, I hope they come out with trying to get the 2 points that they lost in Philadelphia, because it wasn't the Oilers' best effort. I want to see what that looks like against the Flyers team with their best effort and the Oilers, and see where the dust settles with both teams really going at it.
And for those that don't know the Oilers' schedule, basically they play every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday this month, except this Thursday. That's just their schedule. They don't play Sunday, Monday, Wednesdays, or Fridays. Home to Flyers, home to Sens, in Chicago, Detroit, Montreal, home to Toronto, Seattle, in Calgary, and then home to Columbus, Chicago, and Nashville. Again, that's Tuesdays, every Tuesday, 4 Tuesdays this month, 3 Thursdays this month, and 4 Saturdays this month. This is Two Guys and a Goalie. Matt Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk in the Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola and YouTube Trev coming up at 5:30 later tonight. We are live in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio. Well, I'm live in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio here on the West End. Gager's at the satellite studios, I guess, of Popeyes at his home. And we've mentioned it a few times of you being on the morning show. How was co-hosting the morning show today?
It was good. It was full of energy. I was the only tough time was don't sleep in. Like checking my alarm.
That's a big one.
So many times, and the anxiety of looking at the clock. You know, because I probably from 3:30 on, I probably woke up 10 to 15 times. Right, just going, oh, okay, I'm still good. And then I just said, you know what, I can't. I just got up, made a coffee, and just got ready to come in. But it was a little different, because I used to come in at the old place, you know, in the mornings and have to wait security and stuff. So it was a little bit different, just waltzing right in. But no, it was good. Tommy's professional. I was a little bit nervous, not knowing how everything's going to work. But no, it was a fun time. Loved it.
None of us know how some of those things run. We need Dusty and Eric here for certain things. Like we have there are some things that are going to have to change in 2024 for Edmonton Sports Talk. One of those is we need files that are accessible to everyone, not just Dusty, so that when he goes away and then Eric's not here, we're really limited in certain things. Because like I've got the board sitting in front of me here, but that connects to Dusty's computer, which has all the music, like the sports updates, Whale and the Wolf, all that. And then Eric has some of it, but I don't even think he has all of it. That is his computer. But no one knows where anything is. Like, so that needs to change. So sorry that...
I got to say, though, the Trev's music that he picked was banging this morning. He had a good little jingle, so that was good.
Yeah, I got to find where he got those, because... it was sounding pretty good. I was glad there was something. When I was, listening this morning, I was glad we had something, because Eric was sick. So, like, we had no music on our last morning show before Christmas. And I was like, we're going to need to fix that. And I didn't think we'd have to deal with that right away. But with Eric not being here, then I was like, crap. Here we go again.
Here we go.
But look at that. YouTube Trev, he's a smart kid. And he knows what he's doing. So, it was great having you on. You'll be back on tomorrow morning with To Be Determined. I will figure that out later after the show today to see who you're in with, whether it's Tommy or Eric. But that's the beauty of Tommy. He's just such a pro. Like, I texted him yesterday, like, hey, I need you to do morning show. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. It comes in and just does the show.
Hits it. Yeah, that's great.
It's
unreal. Like, and being a host, the true test of someone, I think, any kind of professional doing so, anyone doing, is they make it look like anyone else could do it. Like they make it look so easy, right? Like, and I worked Oilers Plus a few times and did some hosting with some offbeat stuff. It was some wine tasting things. It's hard, man. Like the way those guys are able to keep it rolling, um, very, very impressive, especially when you try to do it yourself and go, oh my gosh, was that ever awful? And then total respect to Dusty and you guys and Tommy for hosting. It's not easy.
Well, and I'll one up that and go Dusty at the Spangler and Tommy when he does his TV stuff. When they have their IFBs in their heads and they're like people are constantly talking in your ear while you're trying to do your job. Like we've done that. We had that at the old place. I want to get it here where we have the ability to do that. But even then, it's rare we do it because we don't want to mess with someone as they're talking. The TV people that could just crush it and just keep going while someone's talking in their ear is absolutely insane. That they can formulate thoughts while someone is telling them to do something or go to something else, or they're talking to someone entirely different. It's just absolutely incredible. So the TV boys that we have here, and Tommy and Dusty, the real respect to those two.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
So Oilers Flyers tonight. I don't. Did you watch any of the Winter Classic yesterday? Vegas, Seattle.
A little bit.
Did you?
Yeah, I wanted to see how it looked. You know, in Seattle, the fans looked. It looked like a tremendous time. Like when they scored the first goal, the fans are going nuts. I don't think half the people were actually watching the game at that point. It was more of a gathering, I think. I liked the unis. I thought I actually liked Vegas's more. I thought that looked
well.
Pretty
Seattle's
sharp.
look like their regular jerseys, but with some extra lines and red in it.
Yeah, I mean, what?
But they can't do like
what are they
it's.
supposed to do?
They're both teams are new, I guess. So
yeah. So, but you know, I watched for a bit. To me the luster of the outdoor game is a little tarnished. You know, there's too
absolutely.
many. I think there's something else that they could possibly do with that to make it a little bit more entertaining. I don't know. Maybe there was talk here about having the game in Lake Louise, right? Like up on the mountain and building a structure. Like how great would that be? Like it every time the Winter Classic or the Heritage Classic comes around, it's always in the same location in some distant place where people have to get to go watch. And maybe it's a smaller venue. I don't know. I mean, most people, I guess they love having the thousands of people in the stands, but I don't know, it's not the greatest place to watch a hockey game.
No,
you know, in the upper deck trying to find, and it's just this small little surface. So yeah, we'll see. I would definitely try to go to a game in Lake Louise if it was there, right? Like that would be something else.
The NHL's made this a cash cow. They make money off of this.
Yeah.
They go to these big places and they sell tickets and they make a bunch of cash, and that's what that's really turned into. That's where my frustration has been, is because I feel like this should have been a TV event. This is about TV. This isn't about getting fans to come watch it necessarily. Yeah. It's about making a spectacle that goes on ESPN, that goes on Twitter then afterwards, and everyone's talking about, oh my God, did you see this? And it didn't work out fully in this way, but I love that they went to Lake Tahoe, because that's the Lake Louise type thing. Get a game in Central Park. Get a game, find those unique spots to play a game that people stop and be like, oh my God, they're playing a game there? And that's when they first did the Winter Classics, the very first one was in Buffalo. But after going to Fenway Park, going to Wrigley Field, there's a prestige to those stadiums. Going to the ballpark in Seattle, going to ballpark or, the football stadium in Nashville is just meh. If you're not going to go one of the iconic stadiums, then that's where I go, I don't even care if there's no fans. There was none basically at Lake Tahoe. Go put it somewhere really cool that gets people to stop and watch it. Or turn this into the All-Star game. Make this the All-Star game.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, going to Vail in Colorado, right? Telluride, whatever, like some venue. I loved it when it was in Tahoe. Those views, I mean, the ice sucked and the
Yeah.
weather didn't cooperate too much, but the watching that game with that view was way more enjoyable from a TV standpoint. And I mean, even if you're there, and I don't know if you construct bleachers or seating, I'm sure you could do something.
You could put some sort of temporary seating up.
Yeah, and get however many you need. But it's not about the tickets at that point. It's about showcasing the game and not, like you said, not so much of a cash cow. Because really, who wants to watch a game from the upper deck? Because you can't see anything.
At that point, you're just there to be there, right? Like that's all it is to say you were at the game. You don't go to an outdoor game to watch a game. Like, it's just that simple. You're not going to have a good spot necessarily. Like, even Heritage Classic wasn't too bad if you were, upper first bowl. There was a decent sight line. But once you get past that, you're there to just be there and have a good time, and it's the atmosphere, and there's a game going on there, but you're really not going to be able to focus fully on it. If you're trying to dissect the game, and that's not the game to do it at. You're going to want to be at home for it. But like, I don't know. I think make it a TV spectacle and see what you could. That's where the NHL kind of dropped the ball on all this, and I really wish honestly, as you brought Lake Louise, just imagine how amazing those pictures would be. If there was a game with, I don't even care what teams are there. Give me Columbus and the Flyers there for if you have to. Just whoever. You got hockey players playing for 2 points in the setting of Lake Louise. Because also hockey's the only sport that can do this, really. The NFL isn't going to go play a football game in just some field.
Yeah.
Basketball really can't go. I think they've tried some outdoor games and stuff, but like, there's a big risk to that because you can't have the wind messing with the ball. You can't have any precipitation. Like, it has to be indoors. Baseball did the Field of Dreams game. But outside of that, what else are you going to do for baseball? Hockey has the ability, because of the ODR that everyone grew up on, getting to this, to do something really special. And it seems like they've just ruined it.
Maybe it's Alaska, maybe Mystery Alaska. That's why not?
Chris Runn does say in the Nasty Chat, Mr. Alaska was filmed at Spray Lakes in Canmore.
Oh, was it?
So,
never mind then.
But
Okay.
go to Alaska.
Canmore,
go to those things.
Yeah.
That's heck. You want to go play overseas? Go take outdoor games overseas. Go play in some unique spots in Europe with an outdoor game.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those rinks, they're open on one side, right? Like I played in those things. They're crazy, but something a little bit different. I think it's getting, without change, you don't grow. I think there's an opportunity there somewhere to have a huge spectacle of a game. I do like the Central Park one. That would be quite cool, I think, as well.
That's one I've thrown out there for years, but the NHL doesn't want to listen to me, so maybe I need a better number for Gary Bettman. Almost out of time here. Just under 10 minutes left. Did you see what Gary Bettman talking, hinting at that we're close to a best-on-best tournament coming to the National Hockey League? Do you like an idea of in-season best-on-best tournament pausing down for a best-on-best that is not the Olympics?
I do. More so because of my experience in Europe, where there would be a few times throughout the year where the national teams got together and went to play in a tournament, right? Whether it was not in Russia anymore, but Sweden hockey games, the Karjala Cup in Finland. The Spengler, in some respect, kind of is a little bit with the players that all go. And then, I'd like to see it. I think it's necessary. We've been clamoring to see a best on best. If anyone should want it, it should be the U.S. at this point. I think their roster is, at least in goal, has never been as strong as it is right now. It's just something you miss. And look, one of the greatest sporting events that I saw was the Olympics in Vancouver with US and Canada. Like just that Olympics itself was majestic, but there wasn't a car on the road when that game was going on, right? Like it was, everyone was watching that somewhere. If you ask any hockey fan, they know exactly where they were watching that game. And I think I want to see Sidney Crosby and McDavid on the same team. I mean, Crosby's lighting it up. He's another 20-goal season. So I just want to. There's certain things that we're getting to a point where we might not ever see them. And yeah, I just want to see at least once a year during the season, best on best tournament. Get rid of these outdoor games and just have the best on best tournament. That's what I would say.
I'm glad you brought up the 2010 Olympics because I just pulled it up. I remember Epcor released a water consumption in Edmonton during that game of people going to the washroom, and you could just absolutely see the play. When the game's on, it's low. At intermission, a massive spike up. As soon as the next period starts, it drops right back down, stays low, end of the second, and then for golden medal ceremony, it just stays right at the bottom. Like, you're right. Like, no one was on the roads. No one went to the washroom. No one did anything. And I think, 2/3 of our country watched that game when it was on. It was just absolutely amazing. As much as the Americans have the great goaltending, can you have good enough goaltending to stop McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, Bedard?
Well, let's find out. We gotta find this out. Well, there's questions that need to be answered.
I look at that top end skill of Canada, and I don't know how you stop it. Yeah. I don't know how you stop all of that.
Yeah, we've done this on Two Guys. We've constructed our national teams, and it's just so hard to. I mean, it's not hard, but the amount of people that you'd like to see playing with Connor and Sydney, it has to be done, Maddie. Like you said, how many people were watching that game? You don't even have to be a hockey fan.
No,
at that point, right? It's being part of something that's bigger than yourself, essentially, at those times where it happens. And again, I understand the owners and missing out. And what if they're like the John Tavares got injured the 1 year, right? There's always a possibility, but these guys can get injured in practice too. I think it's almost to the point where it's kind of a cop-out. They're more worried about missing out on the monetary gain of these things, I think, because by having best on best tournaments and seeing what these countries can do once they're together and have that rivalry even bigger, can only grow the game even more. And
especially as you said, when the Americans are as good as they are right now.
Yeah.
You could sell that really well. U.S. loves to wave their own flag.
Oh, God.
You got to go in saying that America's a top dog. Like, they are going to be a tough. Look at all this talent that they have. You got to sell that to your own nation as all the American owners.
They'll go crazy for that. And they're going to be good. Like, they're going to be really good. I mean, look at their World Junior team. The Americans have done an amazing job at developing talent with their leagues. You see a lot of players from Canada going and playing in the U.S. junior leagues now. There's so many more options for young players. They've I don't want to say they've caught Canada, but they're getting pretty close with the way that they've developed. And yeah, well,
they're way better in goal in the end, and that is as much as I talk about the scoring of Canada, like that though, right there is a huge part of hockey, and they are much better situated in net than Canada right now. I saw a Canada roster just a couple days ago that had Carter Hart, Aiden Hill, and I can't remember who the third one was. Was
it Skinner?
Maybe it was Skinner. And with no disrespect to those guys, but when you're talking about what the Americans have, it's just
they have game stealers. And you're just hoping that the Oilers goalies the Canadian goalies can hold the fort, right, and just be solid, which they're totally capable of.
Why they'll have a good defense. We'll know that Canada has that. Led by with Cale Makar, and then also just the scoring though. Like if you can score, maybe we'll just be watching like the Oilers outscore their mistakes, outscore your goaltending at the best on best.
But how can you not want to see like on the ice on the same team at the same time, McKinnon, McDavid, and Makar?
Yes,
like that is nasty.
3-on-3. Yes, I was going to go there too. If they have a 3-on-3 overtime, I'm going to pray for 3-on-3 one time because it's going to be over in 10 seconds. As soon as Canada gets the puck, it's done.
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare that would be. That would be just awful.
We need it. We especially with Bedard now in the league, to be able to say we saw McDavid, Bedard, and Crosby play on the same team. That's pretty important, I think.
That's special.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty really special. Oilers, Flyers tonight. Oilers pick up another dub?
I have to say yes. And just the way that they've been playing, their resolve of even when things aren't going well, their ability to stick with the program and get the job done. Looking forward to watching that McLeod Draisaitl Fogle line again and see if they can keep their dominance going, and hopefully that the Oilers D just keep on rolling because they are awesome.
Gager, that's it. Thanks for joining me on Two Guys and a Goalie today, and enjoy the game tonight. Oil Stream pregame show, 5:30 tonight. Tom Gazzola, YouTube, Trev. They'll get you set for Oilers and Flyers. Coming up next, it is the Nielsen Show replay featuring Tom Gazzola and Joaquin Gage right here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, as well as our TuneIn channel. For those on YouTube, again, we'll be back live at 5:30 with the pregame show. On behalf of Gager, I'm Iwanyk. Thanks for tuning in to the first Two Guys and a Goalie of 2024. Two Guys and a Goalie back Thursday right here at noon. Until then, enjoy the Oiler game tonight. Enjoy the rest of your day.